Sometimes a movie role can have lasting effects on an actor. This is surely the case with Bill Skarsgård, the man who brilliantly portrayed Pennywise the Dancing Clown in It. Skarsgård looks a little different without his grease paint on. In fact, he's actually a bit of a heartthrob.
You're kind of getting the rep as the hot clown. What's it been like getting that response from fans online?
I don't know if I'm very hot in the film. I hope not.
This isn't a big surprise since he comes from a family of talented hotties. His dad, Stellan Skarsgård, was most recently the horrifying Baron Harkonnen in Dune.
Kill them all.
Stellan is a major Hollywood actor with roles in everything from Good Will Hunting to Thor. Bill's brother, Alexander, also starred in a Stephen King adaptation as Randall Flagg in the CBS miniseries The Stand, though he's probably more famous for playing Eric the Vampire in True Blood.
Pam, ciao. I thought in over 1,000 years I'd seen everything there was to see.
His two other brothers are actors as well. Gustav played the legendary boat builder Floki in the hit show Vikings, while Walter has appeared in lesser-known horror films like Lords of Chaos. Bill started his career at the age of 9, and by the time he was 21, he had been given the European Film Academy Shooting Star Award to represent young performers from his native Sweden. His first major American film role was as Matthew in the Divergent series Allegiant in 2016. Only 1 year later, he would scare the pants off of audiences everywhere as Pennywise in It Chapter 1.
Hiya, Georgie. What a nice boat.
Pennywise is the embodiment of an ancient cosmic evil that preys upon the children of Derry, Maine, roughly every 27 years. He first appeared in Stephen King's 1986 horror novel It, before being played by Tim Curry in the 1990 TV miniseries.
Take your pick, Billy boy.
Almost 3 decades later, Skarsgård assumed the iconic role for the movie adaptations. He has the ability to shapeshift, change the way reality appears, and hang out in nightmares. The scariest part? Adults can't see him, so they aren't going to believe any of the kids who share their terrifying stories. In It, Pennywise draws the attention of the Losers Club, a group of kids in Derry, when he brutally kills Bill's younger brother, Georgie. Pennywise feeds on children both physically and metaphorically, their fear feeding him just as much as Georgie's tasty arm. Skarsgård really put his all into playing the evil entity. In an interview with the New York Times, the actor explained, "Normally when you do a movie, you have those mundane days when it's like, today's the scene where I get coffee. With this character, there were none of those. Everything I did took 100% of my energy. It was by far the most exhausting character I've ever done, physically and mentally." A big part of that energy was the physicality of Pennywise, which involved lots of big, strange movements. He also smiles in a bizarre way, pointing his lower lip downward to create a menacing grin.
And action. Yeah, that's beautiful.
The coolest bit, though, is that Skarsgård can move his eyes independently, so that wild reverse cross-eye effect is real. Real enough, in fact, that he famously gave co-star Bill Hader a big scare on set. Hader wasn't the only co-star Skarsgård spooked. While he had a lot of fun terrorizing his child co-stars, he also worried that he might be traumatizing them a little. To make sure the kids had genuine reactions to Pennywise, director Andy Muschietti made sure to keep them separate until filming started. As a result, the first time they were all acting together, things felt a little too real.
He's so crazy, so carefree that it makes it even scarier because he doesn't have to try to sound scary.
Skarsgård told Dazed that during filming, he walked into the scene in character where a bunch of the kid actors were sitting. Muschietti told him to grab one of the kids and walk off screen. When Skarsgård grabbed a kid, he screamed bloody murder, and Muschietti told Skarsgård to go for a different kid, trying to find one that wasn't quite so scared. Skarsgård explains, "It was weird because as soon as they said cut, some kids were very shaken up about it. I tried to be like, oh, I'm just an actor, this is just pretend, and they kind of looked at me very suspiciously." He went on to say, "It just hit me that it's this strange thing. If I do my job right, and I'm as terrifying as I want the character to be, there are going to be a lot of people that have this kind of reaction to the performance and the film. It's a strange thing to have to deal with."
Gotcha! You filthy little children.
The actor was especially worried about his more intense scenes, like the one where he gets in Jack Dylan Grazer's face.
Tasty, tasty, beautiful fear.
Skarsgård was worried he had truly shaken his co-star. Instead, Grazer told him how much he loved what Skarsgård was doing. Skarsgård said of him, "He's turned on a dime," and I'm like, what are you? They're like little professionals. In an interview with Entertainment Weekly, Skarsgård said that playing a character in a movie was a lot like being in a relationship with them. He describes himself as going into a relationship with Pennywise, figuring out who he is, and devoting time and effort to this other person, or in this case, this thing.
This isn't real enough for you, Billy. I'm not real enough for you.
It started taking its toll in ways he didn't exactly notice himself. He said, "It's just like being in a very destructive relationship. People don't really realize it until they're out of it. All your friends go, 'You need to dump this piece of shit.' He or she is destroying your life. And then once you're out of it, you see, I was so miserable. But I wouldn't say I was miserable doing Pennywise because I had a lot of fun with it as well." Skarsgård didn't have to worry about actually dialing up the sewer-dwelling serial killer, but it was all too easy for him to think like Pennywise.
For these 7 years, I dreamt about you. I craved you. I've missed you.
When he finished filming Chapter 1, he returned to his childhood home in Sweden and realized he didn't have to deal with the character's inner workings anymore, at least until he would have to go back for Chapter 2. He said that not having to think about Pennywise anymore was like an exorcism.
We all float down here. Yes, we do.
Except if it was a real exorcism, Pennywise wouldn't keep showing up in Skarsgård's dreams. He told Entertainment Weekly that Pennywise continued to visit him long after filming Wrapped. He said, "I was home, done with the movie, and I started having very strange and vivid Pennywise dreams. Every night he came and visited." Everyone's had dreams where they're naked in public or their teeth fall out, but turning into Pennywise in the middle of Starbucks sounds like a special kind of night terror.
Grown up.